What's the saddest thing someone told you before dying? My wife's Japanese grandfather was a brilliant man and a highly respected physicist in his day. Now in his 80s, he was a wise and gentle soul. As his health declined, he began living with us. He did not speak English at all, but I thought his quiet, calming presence would not be a burden to my wife, as she cared for our 3 young children at home. It was just another mouth to feed, so I agreed to have him live out his last years with us. When he moved in, he chose certain daily chores for himself. He opened the curtains every morning and closed them every evening. He kept the entryway clean and straightened the shoes. He swept the crumbs from under the dining table after every meal. But most of all, he insisted on greeting me at the top of the stairs every day after work. He would take my arm and lead me to the dining table where he had set out tea for us to drink. He would talk about his day in Japanese. I always loved hearing his voice, even though I had no clue what he was saying. Then it was my turn to unburden myself with the cares of the day. We finished our tea, and I felt deeply refreshed and ready to engage with my wife and children. At first I thought I was humoring him because he was lonely, but over time, I realized that he was doing it for me. He was helping around the house in order to make my life easier. I would be able to unwind from my hectic day, better enabling me to enjoy and connect with my family. Then, all of a sudden, his health took a dramatic turn for the worse. He started becoming weak and frail, losing his appetite. Within a week, he could barely walk on his own. My wife and I cared for him as best we could at home, trying to make him comfortable, but his condition continued to deteriorate. One morning, he struggled to get out of bed. His breathing was labored and he seemed disoriented. His hand was pressed tightly against his chest, and his breathing was labored as he leaned against the hallway. My wife called me from my dressing room as I was getting ready for work. She asked if she should call an ambulance. Her grandfather looked at her sharply and shouted, "No!" He understood what she had said perfectly. Our eyes met, and he nodded his head with finality. I knew he was dying. He didn't want to spend his final hours latched up to IVs and tubes. He wanted to die at home. My wife paced back and forth, wringing her hands. "We must do something. What can we do? Maybe I should call the paramedics and ask them," I answered. "If you call them, they will come," she continued. "What if they could help him? They could add months or even years to his life. What if they can just ease his pain?" "That's not what he wants," I answered. "He has lived a full life. He's ready to die."